Infoupdatemk. Top 10 Creepy, Ghostly Place on Earth. Number 10. The Island of the Dolls, Mexico. The Island of the Dolls off the coast of Mexico will find the most bone-chilling island with an even more bone. This hang more dolls from the trees, giving the island the creepy morbid look. There are many stories about the Island of the Dolls. There is the story of the man who lived on the island who hung hundreds of dolls from the trees. Some said he hung the dolls because he thought they were alive. Others said he did it to appease the spirit of a dead girl who he had found drowned in waters near the island. Then there were those who said the dolls were possessed by evil spirits, whose voices could be heard at night calling for the living to join them. Number 9. Bangar Fort, India. Bangar Fort is one of the mysterious places on Earth. This place so haunted that it actually became illegal to go to at night. The history of this place is unsure. Amongst people, everyone seems to believe one of two stories. Going to live there in the fort with the angle of the shadows completely engulfing the fort. The other story being a magician falling in love with a princess at the fort. The magician attempting to trick the princess into loving him, the princess killing the magician, and the magician's final words cursing the fort. Since many people have recalled their unique and spine-chilling, entry into Bangar is prohibited between sunset and sunrise. It is ranked the most haunted fort in India. However, a local guards denied having ever seen any paranormal activity there. Number 8. Forbidden City, Beijing, China. Many people would not assume the Forbidden City, located in the center of modern Beijing, would be haunted, but ghost hunters, who are interested in local lore, know better. One apparition that was first reported in the 1940s is of a woman in white who can be heard sobbing in the halls of the palace. Number 7. Monte Cristo, New South Wales, Australia. Monte Cristo is the Australia's most haunted house. The Monte Cristo homestead was the site of several grisly accidents. This home was built in 1884 and has been constantly transferring owners. Due to the unfortunate and suspicious demise of the owners, or the owners fleeing the home with fearful insanity, the current owners bought the house in 1963, and since then one of the owners has passed away, but one still remains. According to story, a boy was burned alive in the stables, a girl was pushed down the stairs, and a gardener was shot. Those who have chosen to stay in the house claim to have seen the house's former lady. Number 6. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Louisville, Kentucky, USA. Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky is considered to be one of the most haunted locations in the world. In the early 1900s, this hospital was built in Louisville, Kentucky, for patients that were victim of the haunting disease of the time, tuberculosis. Many people died in this hospital both from the disease and the inhumane tactics that were tested on patients to attempt to cure tuberculosis. The death count got so high that the hospital and saw the body chute, which is, as you can imagine, where the bodies of the dead victims were thrown. Waverly Hills shut down in 1961, and since then it has been the site of many ghost TV shows as well as a haunted reputation by the community and the world. Waverly Hills Sanatorium has been a TB hospital, a nursing home, a failed religious monument, and now a paranormal investigation site. Number 5. Moundsville Penitentiary, America. During its more than 100 years in operation, the Moundsville Penitentiary in West Virginia was one of America's most violent correctional facilities, and the final stop for almost 1,000 criminals. The prisoners lived in cramped quarters, which led to riots. Many men were hanged or killed in the electric chair, while others were murdered by other prisoners. The prison closed in 1995, but according to some, the tortured spirits are still behind bars and in the bowels of the prison, and may be seen or heard on a tour. Number 4. Trulo Slang Genocide Museum, Cambodia, the dark side of Cambodian history with a visit to Trulo Slang Museum, essential to understanding the pain of the past. Once an ordinary high school in downtown Phnom Penh, it became a notorious prison 1975 to 1979. During the Khmer Rouge regime, it was here that prisoners were sent after their arrest, interrogated, tortured, and forced to live in tiny brick cells, forced to admit guilt. Most were then sent to Choeung Ek and executed. Up to 20,000 inmates passed through these doors, and the museum serves as memorial to the heinous crimes of the Khmer Rouge. It's raw and shocking. Since then, still the prison is the site of many more reports of paranormal activity. Number 3. Ancient Ramen, Gloucestershire, England. Ancient Ramen has been called the most haunted house in England. There are countless stories of ghostly sightings at the ancient Ramen. Paranormal researchers have described a history of murders on the premises, the burning of a resident which a former innkeeper's daughter hanged in the attic, the bones of ritually murdered children buried under the floor. Other researchers have claimed the inn sits upon an ancient pagan burial ground. Locals will cross over the street, we're told, rather than walk past the ancient ram at night. The cast of supernatural entities sighted at the property is extensive. Now standing for almost 1,000 years, the building has seen its share of residents come and go, and some have left more abruptly than others. Number 2. Paveglia Island, Italy. In the 14th century, Phoenicians infected by the bubonic plague were sent here to die. The site was also used as a mental asylum during the 1800s, where patients were experimented on and tortured. Local will tell you the island is full of ghosts and cursed with unhealthy spirits. Voices and screams are often heard, and visitors have reported seeing dark fleeting shadows. Many visitors say they begin to feel an oppressive evil feeling as soon as they step on the island. Locals won't step foot on Paveglia for fear of being cursed, and fishermen refuse to fish in the area, worried they'll drag up human remains. Number 1. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA. Urban Philadelphia looks like a great castle, a massive and haunting building. This castle is a prison. Until this edifice was constructed, prisons had generally been commercial ventures, filled with prostitutes, booze, corrupt officials, and little to no order. Starvation, cold, disease, and violence often put an end to prisoners before they were even sentenced. In operation from 1829 to 1971, Eastern State Penitentiary in North Philadelphia hosted thousands of prisoners. Untold human suffering occurred inside these gloomy gray walls, starting in the 1940s and escalating after its closure. The prison is the site of countless reports of paranormal activity. Eastern State was to be the world's first penitentiary